Here who doesn't really know Anthony? Maybe some of the visitors. Anthony has got a lot of experience. He does wonderful work and is just a normal guy. So he's here to show us how to make a platter. So.
See, you've been wrong all night.
See? Anyway, thank you, Anthony. We appreciate this and look forward to learning a lot.
Okay. So this is the first. This is the first platter I brought. And I think it's important about it is that it's utilitarian. And it's this area here in the middle that's most important, and the rims out there, it's a little bit of decoration. It's got a little bit of stuff on the inside of it. You have to have really sharp tools to make them. These are similar. They have a big for use area in the middle, just a little bit of detail on the outside. Would you get the big one? The honey locust.
And where is that?
It's in the library.
Okay.
I forgot.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot. I apologize. These are two that I made in classes, and you see, they're not very utilitarian, right? They just have a little area in the middle, and most of what's there is the detail that's on the outside, on the rim, and since it's there, I did it on the bottom too. And I did these, I don't know, because it's too fast to make them if you don't do something. And so that's the two reasons. One is you have the utilitarian, which is open in the middle, big and wide. The rim's not too big. And then here I made shape that made the piece. And the third one is, I don't need it, just, the third one is the wood's pretty. See, that's not good for anything, right? It's warped, and the bark breaks off. It's just there for decoration. And in fact, I hang that one on a wall.
That's gorgeous.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what I did is I put a chuck on here. It has the screw center in the chuck. It's a thing we almost never use, right? I don't use it very often. I only use it to make platters. I stuck a spacer between the jaws and the piece of wood so that I didn't have to drill very deep into the wood. The wood is, I think it's a full inch. It's poplar. I drilled a 3/8 inch hole in it. The threads on the screw are really wide. They're real sharp and real wide, and they will grab onto the wood real easy. And you don't, normally when you drill a pilot hole for a screw, you make it the same size as that piece in the middle and let the threads hang out on both sides. You can't do that with this, or you don't want to. It's too much. And so half of it...
Is that me?
I don't know. Half of the thread sticking out into the wood is enough. Okay, so. Now, what I did was I marked the center. I used a compass to draw the biggest circle I could. I drilled the hole. I was real careful with the depth. You don't want to waste any more wood than you have to. The screw goes a little over halfway into the wood. And then I cut off the outside. First thing I'm going to do is make it round. This is the bottom. Of the platter. The bowl gouge, I'm just going to clean it up the surface. And I don't really have to worry about out here too much. That's going to go away anyhow. It's this front, or the center, that I'm concerned about. Now the thing I need most, the thing I want to do fastest, is I want to make a chucking mechanism. I want to make a dovetail so that when I turn this thing around, I will be able to turn the top of it. But I want to do it quickly because what happens if I mess up and I destroy the part that the thread goes into? That piece of wood's ruined. I can never put it back on. And so the soonest I can, I'm going to put that chucking mechanism on there. Just before that, though, I'm going to real quickly even this up. Okay. It is cross-grained just like a bowl. Oh, probably going to show you that. Here's my goal. There's my dovetail. Remember, dovetail jaws work best when they're almost formed down to a circle. They're almost closed. That's where they grab best. They'll grab over the whole surface. If you open them too far, they only touch in the middle of the jaw. And so, what do you think? That looks too big. Yeah, a little bit, not too bad. As long as they don't make it any bigger, we're all right. Now, the next thing that has to happen, I have to make a foot for this platter to sit on. I don't know if you can see it real well, but on this one, from here out, can you see that? Yeah. From my thumbnail here out, there's actually a little ridge, and that's the foot I created for this to ride. Everything between my thumbnails has been cut in just a little bit. Okay? And so all of it has to be cut inset, as it were. And so right now I'm getting ready to design what my platter is going to look like, because I'm defining where the rim is going to be. Doing what I'm doing now has consequences.
So, Anthony,
Sir,
what's the difference between a plate and a platter?
I don't know. What is it?
I don't know either.
Oh,
But to me, it looks like you're making a plate because it's small. I think a platter is, a big spread.
okay.
But I really don't know. That's why I'm asking. It's served on a platter. You eat off a plate.
Ooh. So what do you think? Is that enough? Oh, I have to cut the center out. I like to have my platters silver. Okay, that's good enough. I'm a 30-second deep. Maybe I'm 32nd now. Now, that's enough for me to hang on to, probably. What? I think it's more than a 32nd, but it's less than a 16th. And so I also have to cut deep enough to handle this width, right? I can do something else in the middle, but I have to cut in at least, or have at least that width. One more. Okay. I'm going to leave this thing in the middle here. Yes, sir.
That's deep enough?
Yeah. Well, if I have a catch, you're going to be the first to know. I don't know what to do now. Ooh. Don't tell anybody. What do you think? Is that okay? Little bullseye. Okay. I'm going to forego pretties in here. We'd do that next time, maybe. I don't know. Say it again. No gugas. Did you see my little rim there, right? Okay, it wasn't an accident. $1965. It was a good year. Now, for here on, I'm essentially just making whatever I want. I don't have any goal. The only thing to say is, what I do here commits me on the other side. That's the second and third law. Making noises. I couldn't hear. Yeah, just like a bowl.
So that if you're going to get a better cut going that direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I may, I don't know, I don't remember sharpening my scraper. Probably as a final cut, I might try to finish this with a scraper if I'd sharpened it, right? What you don't want to do, see, I'm cutting this away, right? That's cross grain. What you don't do is come up the other side, because then you're going the wrong direction. I keep, you know, this is that the chair that has one leg that's too short. Take a little bit off. It's a little too. Now the other one's too. Or no, a little too long. I got the story backwards. And so you take a little off, and now it's too short, and you have to take some off another leg. Well, right here in the middle, you're cutting downhill across both sides, and so that's enough. We could do more if you want. I don't know. We could make a little cove right there. Just Pretend we did it on purpose. There, okay. Sorry. Ooh. You want to take it off the thread before you... Let's see if we made it the right size. You know, you can measure these things. Oh, okay. Now, what I did is I forgot to cut the dovetail. Well, it won't matter. I mean, I cut a recess. That's enough, isn't it? I think I will get that dust out of there. That might make the difference. No, we're good. Nobody's nervous, are they? I mean, it's not big enough for the dovetail to matter very much.
Good luck. I don't want to change.
Yeah, that's good right there. What do you think? Okay. Now, when I did the back of it, right, I said the most important thing was to create my chucking mechanism. And that's cutting from the center out. The general rule in wood turning is wherever your attachment is, you start at the furthest point from it and cut towards it. That keeps stuff from getting too weak in the middle and everything out on the outside gets vibrating, right? So we don't want to do that. However, I did it just exact opposite, right? And that was because I had things that had to happen inside, and then this just happens later. And you could hear it, right? It started getting vibrating at the end there. So what I'm going to do now, though, is here, that is the furthest my little cove goes. And so I'm going to cut from here out. It's actually quite thick. I don't think we'll have any problem. It's just a bowl gouge. I am riding the bevel. I've got the tool at a fairly high, at an angle, so that the wood the wood as it comes down is coming down across the edge. And so I get a nice smooth cut, not too much drag. Now, it's my opinion that a bowl gouge is generally kind of a rough tool. Anything I can do, well, that's not true. I can make this cut just as easily with a spindle gouge, and the chances are I'll get cleaner cut out of it. But what I'm doing is letting the wood come down across this edge. It's literally same as what I did here. The wood's coming down right across that inside edge. It's almost the same cut. Okay. Why do you get a cleaner cut with a spindle gouge than a bowl gouge? The angle may be a little different. It also permits me to cut straight into the wood. The bowl gouge doesn't usually, particularly mine. It's lighter, less bulky. I really think the direction you cut makes a big difference. I do have a regular looking bowl gouge, but mine doesn't do this as well. This cut. Let's see if we can see what that looks like. Can you get it? Can you see the torn grain? Okay, look what happens with a spindle gouge. It's still got the bumps in it, but there's a little torn grain right there. And I'm sorry, when I did that I was shaking, so it makes a difference. I don't think that's much better. It feels better. It feels different. The next thing that's important is just how big is my rim? Well, my rim is defined. My rim cannot be any smaller than where this ridge is on the back, right, where the plate's going to sit. And so my rim has to go at least that far. You can go further, but then you start getting the piece that becomes too thick. We don't want that. Oh, I'm just going to leave that. I just made a design decision. Okay, let's do that. And so I either have a double decoration right here. In fact, let's just do that for the fun of it. Make sure the outside of it's clean. I'm never going to get to come back. I lied. I don't like what it was doing. And so we're going back to the normal. Since I'm cutting just straight in, you know, even though I'm cutting cross grain, you think it's a bowl, but because I'm cutting straight in, the spindle gouge does it real well. Does it better than my bowl gouge will. I'm just wasting this. I'm taking some out of the middle, but I don't want to take very much. I don't want to cut too deep because then that'll make everything weak. You see the screw hole disappear. Now that I'm going to start making a curving cut, though, I'm going back to my bowl gouge. Okay, now, one of the reasons I wanted to keep my tenon or my mortise so small was because I don't know how much wood there is, right? I mean, the screw, I still haven't hit the bottom of the screw hole, and in the very, very center of that screw hole, there's going to be a place where the drill bit tore the wood. It spun it. You can actually see it if you can have a flat surface and still have the swirly grain in the middle. By the way, you know those pointed wood drill bits they make? When you're doing this, those are death. Those are death. Those are death, yes. You don't want those. And so, do it. Here we go. That'll be the thickness, probably, the goal. And that has to be the thickness in the middle, right? You don't want to get under that. You can make out here on the rim that thick, or out on the outside of the bowl that thick, and then you've got that place where you cut away in the middle, and then you can start seeing light through it, and that's not supposed to happen. So getting a little long for my fingers. What? All right, yeah, that's right. So we're good here? Good. For me, the most difficult part of making the platter we're going to look at it as though I sliced it in half, and so we're going to look end on at the cut half. There's my rim. There's a little round part. And there's the bowl. The two things I have the most trouble with are getting this flat and making this transition nice. There's another thing that can happen. I'm using a bowl gouge on the inside, but in just a moment I'm going to use a scraper. And so that is exactly the same as the side of a bowl, right? The grain is running directly out through it. And so the only way you can really get it clean is to have a very, very sharp scraper. Like I said, I don't think I sharpened mine. Maybe it'll be okay. And I'm going to make this cut here and try to clean that up. Now, I've tried various ways to do this. It's very easy to get little ripples. It's very easy to, I'm exaggerating these, right? It makes it look like a bowl, so you never really have a flat spot. You can also have a bump in the middle. All of these things, in my opinion, is I want to avoid when I make my platter. And so, here's one. Let's see, smart. I'm always thinking about this, right? So here's my rim, or the inside of my bowl. What if I do that? Now I have a little break in my shape, and that permits me to do distinct things here and here. So I no longer have to worry about this transition. Makes it a little tough when you're sanding. You're at risk, right? If you sand a little bit of that off, it doesn't look as good. It's not crisp. And so, yes, I brought my secret weapon. We're going to try something different here. So there's the problem. That's the one we're looking to solve. This is high tech, by the way. I don't know why we're still not. Okay. I mean, what can you do? Just have to cut it again. Tell you what, before I do that, I'm going to clean up this little corner right here. And you think I'm being real careful here because this is such a hard cut, right? No. I'm no good at scrapers. I can use them on end grain pretty well, but I'm not very good at this. And so what I'm trying to do is take the last little bit of potential tear out so I don't have to sand it. The more I sand it, the greater risk I am of messing something else up. The more dust I have to breathe. So we're going to pretend that's good. Pretty close. Got a little bump from here. Here's where it starts. Now, if I was good, we'd be able to do that without any bumpies, but I'm not. So, this is not the secret weapon. This is the earlier secret weapon, right? Okay. Here is a flat scraper. This is a negative rake scraper. We know about it, right? Okay. Okay, now this gets me close. Never quite does it as well as I want. Can't do it. Now, here's the secret weapon. Here we go. This is how you make the inside flat. 80 grit sandpaper, sanding block. It works every time. Slow it down a little bit because I'm going to be sanding. It's flat now. It's just such an easy thing. And that's what I did for these. I've never made platters that good, where it's nice and flat and everything. You could put martini glasses on that and balance and stuff. But that's it. Yeah, the other piece of it is, you've got these corners here, and you notice the sandpaper. Okay. No, it's not turned on. No, I'm blind. There's too much sandpaper out here. It's all wiggly and wobbly, right? And what I do is I can use that to get into the corners if I don't push too hard, right? I won't dig anything in. And that's just wonderful. And I don't know. I mean, I suspect if you really had to go for it, 60 would work, but. And that's Platter. What? Any questions? We're good? Went pretty fast. It's poplar. It's got wormholes in it.
So what's your finish of choice then?
It used to be Watco. It's become, I went to linseed oil for a little while. I don't like linseed oil because it leaves a very, very dull finish. Takes a long time to sand. I have some things I did that with, and I have not yet chosen to put lacquer over them. I don't know. I assume it will work. And the other alternative is I flood the surface with lacquer that's been thinned and wait till it's soaked in all it's going to, but it's not yet dry, and then I just wipe it all off. And so the finish goes into the wood. None of it essentially remains on the surface, and you can buff it, and it's nice. I like that. That's what these are. These have that, let's see, there's gloss, semi-gloss, satin, and then flat, and these are satin. I like them. I've never had water on it. I don't know what'll happen. I don't make things with, in most cases, with the thought that I'm going to use it for anything. Yeah, I don't know what else. This has got holes in it, right? Bugs been through it. See, I had a lot more thickness here than I thought. You want to try again?
Did you start with a screw chuck just so you could say it was threaded when you started?
Screw chuck's nice and easy and fast. This is, you make a bowl, or I make a bowl, right? I've gotten my chainsaw out, I've cut up my bowl, I put it on the lathe, I turned it, and I have to put it away. I'm going to have to put it away for 3 months or 6 months or something, then I'm going to pick it up again. And so if I've got this big, long chain of turned stuff, so I'm turning other things while it's drying, and I end up with this big, long chain, that's not too bad. But these, you buy these at Shooties, and you cut them square, drill them, put them on the lathe, and you can make them all day long. And they will, you don't have to wait. Quick and easy. They're serviceable. You can use them to actually carry things around in, or you use them as something to put something on, like on your table, just as a decoration. I don't think this is real exciting what I did.
So is our challenge a platter for next month?
Sure.
Can we do a plate if we want to do a small?
Sure. Okay.
You left turn any green stuff to 10% set aside for platters to let them dry, like you would a bowl or something?
That honey locust, do I dry platters green? Almost never. That honey locust one you saw was turned green. I think there's a big square cherry one in there, and the walnut one that's in there. They were all turned green. And they're turned green simply because I got them green, and if I don't do something with them, they're going to crack. The alternative is, I mean, how are you going to dry something that's 2 feet across? So you dry it, it warps, put it back on the lathe, turn it down. I don't do that with bowls. My bowls, I just turn them green, turn them thin, they warp, and you don't like it, well, I'm poor anyhow, so. I think platters are good. This is a bowl on the inside, right? So it's the same as turning bowls. You learn those same skills. You get to make your shape over here. You get to practice different shapes. You get to find out what you like and what you don't like. Requires just a little bit of precision. You have to get this right. I think they're a good project. They're cheap. Okay. I don't know. What do you think? Okay?
All right.
All right.